whip up dreams and ease your mind. And if believing that your life's no compromise, then pack your bags and leave your cares behind. Sail away the open sea, ski the mountains of your dreams. The international outdoorsman takes you there. Dive for treasure if you dare. We'll take you in, we'll take you there. So climb aboard, the journey never ends.
This is the ultimate experience in flying. This is the wind weapon, invented by Tom Magruder. Tom's idea? To sail like a seabird.
When I first got into windsurfing, it felt like vertical flight across the water. Windsurfing and hang gliding were so close. It was almost like there was no difference, you know. Both sports involve holding a sail. They involve wind, involve airfoils, the same materials, aluminum and mylar and Dacron fabric. And basically, it just seemed like the only thing missing was equipment, something that was designed to do both. A friend of mine was a hang glider pilot, and he sewed a sail, and I made a frame out of aluminum and wires. And it was real complicated at first, but the very first one actually sailed. It actually sailed. It didn't fly, but it was enough to get us going.
Tom, it's blowing out here. How high can you fly today?
Well, Jeff, why don't we go out there and find out?
I have come thousands of miles to see this, and I am excited. So don't go away. The International Outdoorsman continues.
Many people have shared the dream to fly like a seabird, soaring upon the strong currents of wind. And inventor Tom Magruder has just begun to realize this dream on the wings of his own unique creation, the wind weapon.
So if you imagine flight through the eyes of a seagull, every move you make is felt by your body, and you're actually one with the wind. That's what I dream of doing, is becoming one with the wind, being able to blend with the wind.
For 5 years, Tom has struggled as an inventor, an athlete, and an entrepreneur. He started from scratch with no formal training in aerodynamics or engineering, but he's made his dream of wind-powered flight a reality.
Has given me the opportunity to actually develop the sport as I was learning to do it. So it was pretty much the ultimate physical challenge I could ask for. If it's given me a chance to follow a dream to do something that no one's ever done before, to prove that an impossible dream is possible.
Tom has earned his wings as the chief test pilot of the wind weapon, yet he remains humbled by the flight of the seabird.
I seek a form of true flight, and I think a seagull or a seabird best represents true flight. If you watch your seagull come down and land on the water and then flap his wings to get back up into the air again, we've come real close to producing that in a human form.
The wind weapon hardly deserves even a fledgling status beside the seabird. Yet Tom Magruder believes there is a special place for his sail-soaring craft in the history of flight.
The greatest achievement I think that we've accomplished with the wind weapon is that we've learned to actually soar on wind power alone. Everything that man has learned to fly in or with tends to separate him from the natural elements. And because of that, you don't really get the feel of flying. I guess from the beginning of sailing or flying history, man has been trying to harness the wind, to use it for his advantage. Unfortunately, due to the nature of men's hearts, as soon as they learned how to fly, they were dropping bombs on each other out of airplanes. As soon as they learned how to sail ships, they were mounting cannons on them and blowing each other out of the water. And all that excitement, I think they really lost the true excitement of sailing and flying. And it was pretty obvious that they were too busy fighting with their creations to really experience the fun they could have. So just kind of as a joke between us, we named it the wind weapon. We wanted to make the first weapon that really had no wartime purpose. It's simply a fun toy.
His invention to the Columbia River Gorge to take advantage of the strong, steady wind conditions. At the wind weapon headquarters in Hood River, Oregon, the wings are manufactured and distributed to a handful of people around the world. Tom's brother Jim handles the business details, and their close associate, Rountree Rouse, oversees assembly and production of the wings. But today's wind weapon has its real roots in North Carolina, where Tom met hang glider pilot Robert Crowell.
I had been involved in the sport of windsurfing for several years, and when I was up in school in the mountains of North Carolina, I got interested in hang gliding. And as I took up the sport of hang gliding, the fellow I was learning from, Robert Crowell, also took up the sport of windsurfing. So basically we swapped sports. The windsurfer is a very high-energy, adrenaline-flowing sport. You're zipping across the water, and you're very close to the medium that you're riding in. And even when you're not going that fast, it just feels really fast, much faster than any other form of sailing that I've ever done. After I got to a point where I could go fast across the water, I learned how to jump the waves and get up into the air. And I really loved the feeling of getting free of that water for a while, but I didn't like coming back down so quick. And that really gave me an urge to try to extend my air time and stay longer in the air. As you launch in a hang glider, as you're running off the mountain, everything's very fast and exciting, and there's a lot of adrenaline right at first. But then in a hang glider, as you get up into the air and you get away from land, you lose your ground reference, and everything slows down, and it's a real mellow, peaceful sport. And you can get a lot of excitement as you learn how to ride in thermal air currents and use the ridge lift to stay up longer. But for the most part, the exciting part of hang gliding to me was close to the ground, where it was most dangerous during launching and landing. That really scared me away from hang gliding. I wanted to be able to experience the fun and yet not have to worry about paying for it with my life. So as we both got together and each learned the opposite sports, we realized that the aerodynamics were pretty much the same. And with Robert's swing knowledge and my sailing knowledge, we had everything we needed to make a windsurfer that would fly. So it's a very natural and free type of feeling to be sailing along, and then once you gain the speed you need to use that same wind thrust to transform it into lift, to lift you off the water into the air.
The original prototypes were handmade and fragile, but the crucial components had been developed. And in 1985 on the West Coast, the wing was improved drastically when they discovered, finally, Easton aluminum tubing.
They produce an aluminum that's unlike anything we'd ever seen and have seen since. It's stronger and much lighter than any other aluminum or any kind of material that's available for this type of application. The prototypes we were working with prior to the Easton aluminum had a lifespan of maybe a week in light winds. One fall and the rig would just fold up like aluminum foil. The Easton tubing, we sail on it in abusive conditions for over a year and haven't had any structural failure. The T-joint is the structural member with all three of the largest tubes are connected with, and it's designed with what is known aerodynamically as dihedral to make the wing more stable in flight. The hinge itself is the patented part of the design, and it allows the rigid wing to pivot over the sailor's head. That is what makes the wind weapon work. You pivot the wing out horizontally, and it allows the wing to take off.
When the wing was ready for production, Jim entered the business with high hopes of selling thousands of wind weapons. He soon realized the difficulty of his task.
Wind weapons, this is Jim. People are always going to be skeptical of new ideas. You know, people don't like to change. Well, the only way really to deal with lack of acceptance with the skepticism that we've met is just to keep on sailing, to keep on having fun, and to show as many people as we can how much fun it is.
Jim now plays a dual role as businessman and a wind weapon pilot. Many of his days are spent out on the windy river sailing and flying. In the evening, it's keeping the books straight.
Well, you always feel a little bit guilty about the fact that going out sailing is part of your work. You know, you always feel like you need to be back at the shop putting together the rigs or doing the bookkeeping or something like that. But when it gets down to it, if we aren't out there promoting the product, if we aren't selling the product, then all of the rest is meaningless.
The wind speed, 30 knots. It's a time of anticipation for the wind weapon pilots. They assemble the wings very carefully. The slightest error while rigging may cause dangerous complications while out on the water. They focus their mental and their physical energy toward the flights that they will make. They are prepared to test their skill and their equipment to harness the force of nature and turn the wind into flight. To the limit. Fortunately, the wind weapon is launched into flight over the water, allowing the pilot substantial room for error.
The water is such a forgiving, wonderful thing. You can crash in it all day long and come home with a bruise or two and go out the next day and do it again. Anyone can experience the freedom of flying without having to worry about the fear of dying.
Although at times forgiving, unforgiving, the forces of wind and water are extremely powerful. Tom and Jim have found out that one must yield to that greater force. As they head back out to attempt more and more flights, both of the pilots maintain an incredible capacity to persevere through the challenge that they have undertaken. This is the wind weapon and the flight of the bird.
Just the physical image of the wind weapon itself in the air tends to cause a common bond among me and other people. They see in that physical representation something that they long to do.
Magazine covers reveal a glamorous document of Tom's travels and his recognitions. Wherever he goes with his wings, photographers follow. Although the media attention greatly increases the public awareness of the wind weapon, Tom makes certain not to lose sight of his original intention.
It really seemed to build a wall between me and other people. For one, they would look at me, and because I was on TV, they thought that, you know, there was something special about me. And yet I didn't really feel any different, you know. I was just trying to get people to believe in a dream with me, you know. And all of a sudden, they're kind of putting me on a pedestal and glorifying me rather than realizing, you know, hey, I can be a part of this dream too. The average person doesn't realize that the flight of the wind weapon, the natural true flight, is very much within their reach.
This remote region of the Columbia River Gorge is the ideal place to escape the constant pressures of responsibilities and busy schedules. During this time, our pilots are free to seek the simple pleasures of sailing and soaring. Alone on the water, they discover that perfect moment when the body, mind, and sail are one with the wind. satisfied with their accomplishment. They realize that the wind weapon has only scratched the surface of true flight. The future will be time to press on to explore the realm of the seabird. Although the seabird is born with wings that man may never reproduce, the spirit of flight will always inspire man to try.
I guess the thing that really keeps me going is the feeling I got the first time I flew the wind weapon and every time that I get to go out sailing since then. Just to bring that to the people, the concept of flight, the actually feeling of flight is really what keeps us going as a company.
The dream of true flight is definitely possible by man. I don't think that God puts dreams into people's minds that aren't possibly able to be fulfilled. The wind weapon will bring flight down closer to the surface, within the grasp of the average person, where they can go out in their favorite body of water and get up in the air and feel what it's like to be free. And even if they don't think they can ever physically get to the point of flying a wind weapon, the dream is still there. They share in it, you know. All those who believe and see it, they are actually part of the dream.